up, dust myself off, start all over again. Sitting in the midday sun and wondering where my meal's coming from. After working so hard, not even a piece of bread on my yard. Those are the words of Peter Tosh, one of the people I listen to when I am seeking inspiration. And Peter Tosh's words are very, very much alive today in Barbados and in St. Michael. In St. Michael in particular. And why do I say that? I say that because all of those people who are unemployed, those who were sent home, those who are underemployed, those on the blocks in the rum shops, across the length and breadth of St. Michael, those are the ones working so hard, studying so hard, and at the end of the day, not a piece of bread in the yard. But Peter Tosh's song did not stop there. It said, I'm going to pick myself up. I'm going to dust myself off. And I'm going to start all over again. And that applies to us. Because there's going to be a time when the people of Barbados will pick themselves up and dust themselves off and start all over again under Barbados Labour Party government. Barbadians do not want change because they tried that already and we know the result. Barbados and Barbadians need a new beginning. And that new beginning will come under Mia Mottley and the Barbados Labour Party. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have to tell you who I am, but I am going to do so for a short while. Because I want to send a message straight to Evans Avenue, where the office was opened a couple days ago. I was born and bred in the city of Bridgetown, the real McCoy. I was nurtured, I was molded in the city of Bridgetown. I ate ackies, bright fruit. I lined by the street corner, I picked marbles. And scores of people in this city can tell you, yes, Jeffrey Bostic came from the city of Bridgetown. I did not have to wait until I entered politics to try to identify with where I come from. I moved out of the city of Bridgetown some years ago, but the city of Bridgetown remained in me. I didn't have to wait on politics for me to attend the funerals of people who I grew up with. That was a natural course for me. And in all the jobs that I've held in this country, I never forgot where I come from and who I grew up with. In fact, I created opportunities for them. That's why some of them were able to go and line in the defense force at St. Anne's Fort, play football at Paragon. Even in my present occupation, I employ half of my staff are from the city of Bridgetown. I'm not ashamed of city people. I'm not ashamed of city people. The city made me who I am. And I would never, ever have been in politics, in spite of all the challenges in this city of Bridgetown, if it was not the city of Bridgetown that I was seeking to represent. So I want to say that up front. And I'm not identifying with the city because I ran from where I live in St. Philip after 3 or 4 attempts. Could not win a seat. And I decided that I will descend on the people of Bridgetown. When during the period of 14 years, you never stepped one single foot in the city of Bridgetown. You couldn't care less about the people in the city of Bridgetown. And all of a sudden, you are the savior of the people of the city of Bridgetown. Give me a break. There are two Labour parties in this race, and some other parties. I'm not going to deal with the other parties tonight, except let me say this. It is passing strange that these other parties, with all the difficulties and hardships going on in this country, that they cannot attack the government for the poor performance and for the government's poor record. But they're joining up, coming together to attack the Barbados Labour Party. Their time will come. All I will say at this stage is that based on the utterances of these other parties, let me say to each and every one of you here, a vote for any of those parties is a vote for the Democratic Labour Party. There are two Labour parties in this race. Democratic Labour Party and the Barbados Labour Party. Two Labour parties, but yet so different. One of these Labour parties has been destroying the lives of our people. The other Labour Party continues to seek for a better life for our people. That is the difference. That is the difference. And I say this to you. St. Michael, this parish called St. Michael, which is the home of approximately 1/3 of the population of Barbados. It has about 1/3, just over 1/3 of the parliamentary seats in Barbados. This is going to be the battleground for the next general election, St. Michael. The battle will be won or the battle will be lost in the parish of St. Michael. And we know that the Democratic Labour Party is throwing all of its firepower, its financial power in the parish of St. Michael, and particularly the 3 seats, Trevor, yours, Santia, yours, and mine. But let me tell them something. We're not afraid of the financial power. The reason why they're coming into St. Michael and in these 3 constituencies is because they believe that they can buy the people of these constituencies. They have no respect for you. And although some people will fall for the money, I am satisfied within my heart. I know my people. And the power of the people of St. Michael will overcome and overwhelm the financial power of the Democratic Labour Party, which is seeking to retain political power. And we will get to the point of the money on another occasion. What is happening in these 3 constituencies is really a power struggle within the Democratic Labour Party. 3 new candidates have been selected to contest these 3 constituencies that I just mentioned. And by the way, these 3 constituencies were returned to the Barbados Labour Party in the last general election, and not one single constituency to the Democratic Labour Party. That is a fact. But they're coming into these 3 constituencies because they believe that they can buy you. They're coming into these 3 constituencies with 3 new candidates. But I want to say to you, comrades and friends, there are 3 new horses riding for the Democratic Labour Party in these 3 constituencies. Sorry, 3 new jockeys. But the 3 new jockeys are riding the same old, tired, dead horse. And the same old, tired, dead horse is controlled and managed by the same trainers. The trainers who have destroyed this country in the last 10 years. And so when you come trying to suggest that there's no difference between the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party, I'm telling you that is not so. St. Michael can tell you that that is not so. You know what is really hurtful? The fact that St. Michael, as I said, a third of the population, most of the working class, the highest concentration of working class people in this country live in St. Michael. And you have a government that has a prime minister with a seat in St. Michael, a minister of finance with a seat in St. Michael, a minister of tourism with a seat in St. Michael, a minister of social care with a seat in St. Michael, and they could inflict the kind of pain and hurt on the people of St. Michael over the last 10 years. They started a facts campaign. No problem, I like facts. So let us now deal with the facts. The Barbados Labour Party under Owen Seymour, Arthur St. Michael people brought down taxes in this country from land tax, consumption tax, and even road tax remained unchanged for years. As soon as this government got into office, this government increased bicycle tax from $5 to $25. A tax that remained at $5 about 500 years. And knowing that a large number of the residents in St. Michael ride bicycles. But then all, they increase or introduce a cell phone tax. If you know St. Michael well, you know that people in St. Michael are kind of nomadic. In other words, you live in one part, but you live in another, you sleep in another, etc. Landlines don't work for St. Michael people. St. Michael people work by cell phones. And you introduce a cell phone tax. I believe that they have more rum shops and bars in St. Michael than the rest of Barbados combined. And you would believe that they took liquor license for shops up to $1,000. Shops that were already struggling, man. And then when the shopkeepers, the bar owners, decided, well, karaoke was the only thing now, at least to keep them afloat. And they wanted to hold a little karaoke. We all love karaoke. They had to pay an extra license, liquor license for karaoke too. That is a government that cares about the people in St. Michael with so many shops. I say no. I say no. Road taxes in this country almost doubled under this government. And one time, certainly when the Barbados Labour Party was in office, we had roads with some potholes. Now we have potholes with some road. In fact, I think we have pot roads. Let us go to transport. Most of the people in St. Michael depend on transport board buses to get to and from work and school. From 200 plus buses working to less than 70 buses under this administration. Them care about St. Michael people. Under the Barbados Labour Party, an Urban Development Commission was established, a commission that started to transform the lives and the landscape of the urban corridor. This government reduced Urban Development Commission to simply an urban commission because they remove all of the development. None has taken place. Housing. A 3-bedroom apartment at London Bone Towers, $300 and something per month. low-income earners, that was under the Barbados Labour Party. You better fork out about $800 for a two-bedroom for low-income earners under the Democratic Labour Party. Then you tell me that you care about St. Michael people? You had about $60 million to make life better for the people of Cat's Castle and Greenfield and Garden Land and in St. Thomas. And you allowed money that was negotiated for by the Barbados Labour Party and secured for special project. And you allow all of that money to go back without doing anything at all for the people in these communities. And you tell me that you like St. Michael people? If you are a fish vendor at the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex, you must know that things are significantly worse at that complex than they were when the Barbados Labour Party was in office. When you look at Oistins and the development of the Bay Gardens under the Barbados Labour Party, and you look at the fish complex at the top of West Bay Road, Bass's Road, under this government, they have done absolutely nothing for those vendors, absolutely nothing for those people to ensure that those people can earn a decent wage, a decent living. These are the things that we face in this country from this party. And they say they love St. Michael people. Look at the performance of the Democratic Labour Party in St. Michael, and I am telling you, they have not fulfilled the promises. They said that they will take you on a pathway to progress, but they're taking you to the pathway of poverty, not progress. And every time you want to play the blame game, all the other countries in the Caribbean are doing well because the people have taken ownership of the problems they have. They have confronted these problems and they're trying desperately to fix the problems. You want to continue blaming the Barbados Labour Party for 10 years. You blame a non-existent international recession for 10 years. You sat at your desk doing precious little, generating very little revenue, no new business, no manufacturing, no agricultural input. And you continue to blame people for the state of affairs in this country. But I say no. I say no, because I will deal with the facts. In 2008, when the Barbados Labour Party demitted office, the opposition Democratic Labour Party at the time vilified Owen Arthur for the high cost of living. And when the then Prime Minister indicated that it was a result of price gouging, I will never forget it, and overseas prices, they said, no, the Barbados Labour Party. Would you imagine that in 2018, that prices have gone up by at least 45% in this country? Back in 2008, the Barbados Labour Party was thrown over the coals for the debt, the national debt of this country by the Democratic Labour Party. I'm telling you that in 2007, the debt to GDP ratio in Barbados was 69.3%. In 2017, at the end of 2017, it jumped to 145.9% under this Democratic Labour Party government. So who is to blame for this? How did we get here? How did we get here? I am saying this to all of you, my people. I have confidence in Mia Mottley and the Barbados Labour Party. And I don't have confidence in Mia Mottley because she is brilliant, and she is. Because she has a very good head when it comes to economics, and she does. Not because she is female, and she is. It is because having walked with her, having talked with her, Having seen her in operation across the length and breadth of this country, for me, she has the conviction, the passion, and the desire to do well for Barbados and to lift the lives of the working class people of this country. That is why I will follow Mia Mottley. And they say that she's a Sandy Lane person, so what? Mia Mottley is just at ease on the blocks, in the trenches, in the rum shops, as she is in Sandy Lane or any other lane. Out of the ashes. We were talking back to Peter Tosh, man. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again. Great leaders and great institutions emerge out of challenging situations. History is full of examples like that. And Barbados has its own, man. Barbados has its own. We've had people who, like the Phoenix, people who rose up from the ashes of decadence and decay and hopelessness and brought a freshness and a newness of life to this country and its people. In February 1953, there was a Phoenix called Grantley Herbert Adams who rose out of the ashes of the 40s and the 30s and started a social transformation and revolution in this country, hitherto unknown. In September 1976, there was a Phoenix called Tom Adams who started an economic revolution in this country unheard of by any generation. In September 1994, Owen Arthur and his Barbados Labour Party team were successful in not a social revolution, not an economic revolution, but a socio-economic revolution. That was the next Phoenix. And I say this to you, my people, I say this to you. There will be a new Phoenix. Whether it is this month, next month, the next month, or the next month, Barbados will have a new Phoenix. And that Phoenix is Mia Mottley. Mia Mottley. And I say this to you. I say this to you. The good book tells us that weeping may endure for a day, for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. On that morning after elections, the election results have been announced. Joy will come to the faces of Barbadians once more. And so tonight, I urge each and every one of you, as I do myself and all of my colleagues, don't hold your head down now, man. Don't hold your head down, man. Lift your head up high, man. Lift it high. Dust yourself off and be prepared to start all over again. We did it before with Owen Arthur. We will do it again with Mia Mottley. And I say this to each and every one of us here. The Barbados Labour Party government will be a government for all people, whether you are B, D, UPP, SLP, Solutions. We don't care as long as you are Barbadian or you reside in this country. The Barbados Labour Party will take care of you. And I'm urging everyone here tonight and all of Barbados on that glorious morn when Mia Mottley, with the support of George Payne and the team of Barbados Labour Party, members of Parliament, when we start this journey to build a new Barbados, Because it has to be a new Barbados, because the way things are now, we have to start fresh. But we can do it. And if we hold our heads up high, then all of us as Barbadians or people who reside in Barbados can say that we will write our names in history's page with expectations great, strict guardians of our heritage, firm craftsmen of our faith. I thank you.